Sorry for the delay. We had a couple meetings prior to this, so let's call this meeting to order at 6:02. And please stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey Shannon, did you swipe any extra papers on this stuff?
No, I got it. I did. I think it was
I
right
have
there.
two from last
Yeah,
week.
sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, also going to read our district mission statement. In partnership with the communities, the mission of the Delaware and Felton School District is to educate individuals in an environment of trust and respect so they become self-directed, responsible, lifelong learners. Again, in the political climate we are in, we just ask that no outbursts or gestures of approval or disapproval happen during the meeting. We want to remind the public that we value each other's opinions and we can respectfully disagree with one another while conducting our meeting in a professional manner. So thank you all. Roll call tonight, all members except David. David is not going to be able to be here tonight. He is under the weather. So I said, we appreciate you staying home. Keeping yourself. So, we have Superintendent Hunstead, Principal Lepard, we have Assistant Principal Henderson with us tonight, and here, no, this is no longer. Okay, so we are going to add to the agenda. We're going to add probably, I think I'll do 9.9. I'm going to move down to 9.10, and at 9.9 we are going to add. What do you want to rate this payment?
I guess would be a motion to pay Minko for that. It's at 17,540, I believe, right?
You could just write a motion to approve Minko's balance.
Yeah, okay, and I have the number
Okay.
right here.
Okay, so we're going to add that on 9.9, we'll move closed session down to 9.10. Okay, perfect, we'll just keep that there. So, any other changes besides that?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Yep, you took off the one.
Yeah,
position.
we did, yep.
Okay, sounds good, so, great. Do we have a motion to adopt the agenda, please? A motion by Nicole, is there a second? Second by Laura. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Public comments, rebel recognition? Anybody?
Since David's not here, our kiddos for the play.
Yes.
Top three at state.
Yes,
That's awesome.
it is outstanding.
And they made it there and they weren't in the storm.
They beat the storm.
They beat the
Yeah,
storm.
they
Well, good for
left
them.
Thursday morning. We had a kind of a run through with the high school here and they went through the elementary and then they took off. So
I love seeing that.
they got out just tonight.
Lucky.
Good job.
Yeah, so it was good.
All right, any other rebel recognition?
I just wanted to recognize our counselors. Last week was Counselors Week, and I don't think we talked about that at the last meeting. All the work that our social workers and counselors do. And then for today being Valentine's Day on a Monday after the Super Bowl, the elementary teachers, kudos to you, because I'm sure that was just chaos. I just can't even imagine. In our little school, it was crazy.
Well, in Cincinnati, they called off school. They did.
I know, I did hear that,
They
yeah.
did, they
yeah.
called off school.
Yeah,
It's such a
just-
big deal.
yeah, it's
And
just
then
fun.
Yahoo for Kindness Week and everything that goes into that. It's great to hear everybody talk about the positivity that they're bringing to the school. So
I saw when you walk out, there's a pink sheet, and they had all the activities this week, so, yeah, a lot of fun, that's great. Is there anybody wanting to speak this evening on your sheet? No?
I think dance team finished out their season too.
Yes.
I think they had sections, but just missed it with a 4th place
Yes.
finish. But I heard they had a good season, so.
It was fun, they danced at the senior night at one of the boys' games, and I always enjoy when they come in and dance, they are just so talented, and
They do a nice job.
they do a really good job. So, yeah, thank you for bringing that up. Okay, 6.1, DGF Middle School report.
Just I don't know.
You can have
Pop up here, and
Let's get you on the
I
screen.
thought Wayne would go first so I could see how it's going.
We always finish strong.
What's that?
We finish strong.
Yeah. Age and beauty first. Just a few things that we have coming up. This Thursday, the 7th grade has their compassion retreat over at the church in Dilworth. They've done this for several years. Speaker comes in and they have about 30 high school team leaders come over too, and it's just a day of activities and team building activities going on over here. So that'll be this Thursday. The end of February here, we have the Minnesota Student Survey coming up, and that'll be issued 5th through 12th grade. All grades will take it this year because of our community norms grant with Jason McCoy. So all grades will be taking that. And then after that, we have MCAs coming up, of course, and that usually takes pretty much the whole month of April and into the first week in May to get all that testing done. So we got that coming up. End of the trimester already. The second trimester is coming to an end on February 25th. And conference night in the middle school will be on March 14th. And then Joe and Wayne and I have been working together to put together next year's schedule, and we're trying to line it high school and middle school together. So we're looking to see if there's opportunities to share maybe some staff even and move some of his electives from 9th grade into 8th grade to free up some more electives for those kids out there too. So I think we've got a pretty good handle on that. It's coming together pretty good. And then just the last thing, I just want to give a shout out to the teachers and mention the counselors and our peers and everybody. It's been an interesting year. Everybody thought this was going to be the year where we return to normal. Well, normal is, I don't know what it is anymore, but they've been stepping up, covering each other's classes and taking extra kids and giving up prep times, doing double duty. And everybody's been stepping up and filling in, and I think we have been in a lot of trouble if that wasn't the case. So the staff have just been awesome to work with in that regards, and from the parents to the counselors, the teachers, everybody's just been stepping up and doing extra duty, and it's greatly appreciated. So I think you guys need to hear that too for what they've been doing. So. Any questions?
Yes, go ahead, Laura.
The Minnesota Student Survey, what is that about?
That's given every 3 years, and it's they ask students what they think of their school, their habits, like alcohol, drug use, all that, and it's totally anonymous. You don't know who responded or whatever, but you'll get results back just for our school, and then compared to other schools in the state our size, how they do and stuff. So it's just a lot of good feedback, and with it, we had to send out a passive consent form. You should have gotten one if you have a student that said if you want to opt out of taking this, you can opt out, and then you sign it and return it to the school, and then they don't need to take it then. But it's totally anonymous. We don't know what you would say or anybody. When I was at Hewlett Hitterdal, every school in the state does it every 3 years, and then if your cell size is too small, you won't get any results back because then they figure you could identify kids. So we actually had a couple of classes that were small enough where we wouldn't get results back because it was just too small. So it is totally anonymous, and no names are attached to it whatsoever.
And it's Jason McCoy that's.
Well, we're doing every grade. Before, I think it was 5, 8, and 11.
5, 8, and 11. This
Just
because of this. Go
Because
ahead.
of the grant, we're doing all grades. So 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way through. So in normal year, every 3 years, you just do those 3 grades. This year, because
About
that's
mental health questions too. Laura, mental health, it's use of narcotics, tobacco, alcohol, those types of questions. And I guess the reason with the tie to the coalition is that that's something we're trying to curb. Right? Let's change the amount of vaping, let's change the amount of tobacco or alcohol use. And so to get more information from all grade levels, the same with suicides or mental health issues.
But it goes down to even like connections with teachers
Well,
and
yeah,
family
well,
and
yeah.
your community, so that the community norms grant can go a little further to be able to say, our kids don't believe that their community needs them. And so it gives us an opportunity to talk to the community and have that dialogue and say, we could do better in this area, or maybe the teachers are really knocking it out of the park, but as parents are falling a little behind. We can talk, constructively to the parents and say, what can we do as a community to build those relationships? Because that's what leads to long-term success for kids.
Basically, it gets a pulse of our student body and where they're at in those areas. And yeah, it does, it tells you a lot. Sometimes, it's plus or minus a margin of error, right, too? But because some kids, it's anonymous and so, that
How
gets.
honest they are with it, how
Right.
seriously take it, but,
Yeah.
the more they take it, the better information I get.
I think it'll be nice to get the data from 5 to 12 and then compare it
Yeah.
in the next 3 years.
And I think, the survey's open till like June, we're not in school in June anyway, but the sooner you take it, if you take it by certain date, you'll get your results back sooner, so that's what we're doing here at the end of February.
Brian, any other question?
You mentioned that retreat, and I saw one bill tonight. Is that what that's for, the Day of Compassion retreat? Is that
Yes.
the same thing?
Yeah.
So, I wasn't familiar
My
with
understanding,
that.
they've been doing this for several years and.
Yep, this is probably I know my boys both did it.
I think I did it.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's brand new.
Yeah.
Is this 2 years ago?
Yeah, thanks.
It's good team building activities and they connect with those high school team leaders and stuff, and it sounds like it's
Yeah.
a really good day, fun day for the kids.
And the middle school dance coming up,
Middle school dance is also coming up March
11.
11th. Yeah, Brittany's been organizing that. And like I said, it's gonna be good for the district that we hired her for that AD position, but it's gonna be bad for the middle school. We're gonna have to hire like 5 people to replace her. All right,
Thank you, Ken. All right, DJ high school report, Wayne.
Okay, so since I've been here, I've wanted to come up with ways to provide more opportunities for kids through electives. And so we've been working on that a lot this spring. Looking at next year, the year after, and the year after that. And the way we're kind of looking at, with the staff and I, we're looking at kind of a lot of variables to this, but we have 24 credits that are required for graduation for DGF to get a diploma. 18 of those are required courses, 6 being electives. So possibilities are looking at reducing a half a credit in PE 10 being an elective then instead. Let's see, potentials in business area. Kent mentioned possibly having CBC, or looks like we're probably going to get it to work. CBC in 8th grade instead of 9th, and the careers class in 9th grade potentially being 8th grade. I think we can get it to work there. As far as high school, I don't know for sure if I can take those out next year yet. I have to see what's skills the kids have had so far. Otherwise, we may have to continue with those next year, at least 1 year. Another area is social studies. Civics isn't a required course, but it is in our high school, so potentially looking at making that an elective and offering it and creating other electives as well. So the departments, I've met with them at least twice now, probably at least one more time, just getting their creativity and ideas into their departments as well, and opportunities. Again, what it is just trying to create more opportunities for kids and whatever their interests might be. And so that being said, I still need to come back to you at some point with a course guide to get approval for credit changes, new courses, those kinds of things at some point here. Let's see. Parent-teacher conferences, that's, you mentioned that's March 14th for us. We typically do on the second day is Tuesday. In the spring, the high school use it as a workshop time, planning time. So we're gonna use it as a time to plan for moving rooms, planning for next fall when we bring the middle school over here, and any course changes that we might have. I do intend to have teachers in the high school move into certain wings, so they're all clumped together in each department. Some of them are kind of scattered right now, so that'll be a different change for the high school as well. One of the agenda items tonight is the American Indian, it's called? Compliance, and so that's an annual thing, and when you get to that agenda, just kind of giving you a heads up on what it is. So every fall we have to submit an application. I write that application based on enrollment of the American Indian students that we have. We have about 50 in our district, and I have a committee that I meet with periodically throughout the year. So what this is for tonight, the compliance thing, is we have to have it to the MDE by March 1st every year, and it's stating that the American Indian Parent Group supports what we're doing and is feeling that we're complying with what the application is, so, for those students. Northern Star is something new to me. I've never heard of this before. It's an online school in the cities. I've had a few, I think 4 requests now, one earlier this winter and now 3 most recently. It's just totally new. The premise that I understand it is that a child can, or family can enroll in this school and use a class as a supplemental class instead of one of ours. So I'll just give you an example. If they don't want the current English teacher for a certain course that we have, and it's the only one we have, they can take it through this other school online. The funding goes to that school, and then the credit comes back to our school for the graduation requirements. I know it seems funky to me, but I think we need to, and Shannon and I have talked quite a bit about it. I think it's by statute, they can do that, but I think as a district, we can make some policies on that as far as, do we accept that credit being one thing? Do we, as a board or as a district, do we decide that we want them to take that class versus our own? Those kind of different directions with it, but that's something that we'll bring probably to the table here at some point this spring or summer. What else here? Just some things coming up this spring. ACT for our juniors is March 8th. Ski trip for grade 10 is March 10th. Choir trip, March 30th. What did I see? March 6th or 8th or 10th, somewhere in there is daylight savings time. Can you believe that? And what was the other thing I was mentioning there? I don't remember. So anyway, that's what I got.
Any questions for Wayne?
So you talked about wanting to talk more about this for the kids.
Yep.
So how is the Career Academy, being utilized?
Still the same. Difference with that though, it's a 4-year phase in. So we have so many classes this year. Next year they're going to add in some more, and then the 3rd year some more, and then the 4th year some more. So there are going to be more opportunities there as well.
So if I can talk to that point too, one of the things we found with the academy is that some of our kids are going there and there's supposed to be prerequisites, but we haven't even given them anything in shop or IT or, so the electives that we're talking about too also fulfill, so then when they go there, they have that background and they can take that class now because they've had the prerequisite.
So have they been denied access to the class?
They have been, but then they retracted it.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they did.
Okay, they took it back, okay. But is the future, we're thinking, oh my goodness, number one, we don't want to send our kids there to fail, so let's give them some background. Well, how do we give them background? What's an elective? Can we add the electives to 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, whatever? So when they go, they have prior knowledge and, to be successful. Yeah.
Is the focus out there still 11th and 12th grade predominantly?
Yes, reason being is so our EGF credits, 9th grade for sure, we have very limited elective opportunities.
Sure.
Pretty much their day is solid with required. 10th grade's very much the same. So for them to be gone for 2 hours at a time, it just isn't possible with the number of requirements they have to take care. Yeah.
I have an unrelated question, I guess. When you talked about, like, obviously high schools moving classrooms, are you thinking of restructuring, like, grade-wise or department? You said department?
Departments.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, some of them are pretty fixed science.
True,
Won't be able to move
true.
them.
Some of them are
Won't be able to move them. So, okay. Anything else?
I think we're good. Thank you so much. All right, board committee reports. Laura, do you want to do personnel meeting or?
We met at 5 tonight and we talked about kind of what's coming up with the next negotiations with the admin team, non-certified staff. Didn't have any hard dates up or anything on that with that, but just Shannon said that that's going down. As far as food service goes, they're hoping that they will have somebody who will be moving into that role that Chelsea had, but nothing solidified yet. Spoke about the assistant principal hire. I don't know. I don't know how much I can.
So Brittany's here.
Brittany's here.
Brittany and John's here, so we're very excited for her to take over that
Yeah.
position. So she's gonna be over in the elementary and her position will start around July. And then we just talked, it's gonna be a 210 contract, 210 days, so. And then moving into four and five, go ahead. What are you going to do?
No, just that, Shannon has a couple meetings with, possible retirees. Don't really have a for sure pulse on exactly what that's gonna look like, but, which obviously that will impact what happens for the staff changes for fiscal year 23.
Depending on, how many retire, we move certain teachers with certain credentials around, and Brittany will be moving out of hers. So there's just it's too early to tell yet where people are gonna end up. So hopefully, like Shannon said, we're gonna be like a net, everything's just work out, just
We hope,
peachy.
yeah.
That's what we wanna work out. And since we're talking personnel, if anybody at home is watching this, reminder to check our website for job opportunities. We, as everybody else in the Fargo-Moorhead area, has substitute shortages, so we'd love for you to be a sub. If you're sitting at home and you're like, how can I help? Apply, please. Shannon would love to sign a piece of paper for you. And transportation. So let's do our little plug for, we need employees, please.
We do, nice plug.
So, all right, and then we have a personnel discussion, we're gonna be going into a closed session for that, so. Anything else, Laura? I don't think so. All right, next up, facilities team.
We had a facilities meeting this evening and we discussed this NINCO change order and how we are going to proceed with that. And obviously now you see that we've added that to our agenda that we are going to approve paying on that balance on that change order for this evening.
And that total was, so if you need to write it down, $17,530.
I think it's important that we talk about the reason we decided to go forward with that is just that they came and gave us their information and really told us a plea as to why. They have change orders 1 through 4 kind of waiting, but they can't sign 2, 3, and 4 until we clear up number 1, which is the 17,000, but they have 267,000 also waiting in the wind that they are taking on personally within their business. Because they have to put a fail-safe in there somewhere. So I think that's kind of important. The overhead that they're talking about is gas, oil changes, management, direct and indirect staff. They're going to have 1 to 3 crews depending on the time of year. 3 this summer when it's at the height of the season. And then they're limited options to go out and get other bid packages. So they're not really recouping any of those costs going forward because they're going to be, for lack of a better term, stuck with us until the end of the project, and they're committed to that. They want to be good neighbors and want to show up and do a good job for us, and that's really important to them, and they portrayed that to us, I think, pretty clearly. It's not their fault that this happened, and it's not our fault, so we're going to try to look at some solutions to try to figure that out later, but we as a team decided that it was really not them to take on that additional expense because they were stuck with it, so.
Sounds good. Appreciate you guys meeting with them, so.
We never made it to 2 through 5.
No.
All right. So,
Number 1 took the
yeah, you guys can. That's for the next meeting. Pass the agenda on. All right. Any other board committees that met recently? No? All right. All right, 6.4, superintendent report.
All right, where I'm at, assistant principal food service update. So again, we've talked about Brittany, and she's here, accepting the assistant principal position. We did have 5 interviews. I think I shared some of that with the update previously to you guys too. Just could not be happier with the group of people we interviewed and their professionalism. We had a very difficult decision to make because of the great interviews we had, which as a superintendent was great because not only, I think it was Nicole, I think it was you or some, maybe Brittany, I don't know, one of you two sent me an email about, hey, we just want what's best for DGF. I think in an email, maybe it was you, Nicole. And it's great that we get this kind of caliber candidate applying for our school. So it was great to interview them and just, wow, there's some good people out there and they're interested in our school. Brittany did a great job in the interview, and obviously as a team at the end of the day, we just felt she'd have the biggest impact on our school moving forward, and I couldn't agree more. So we're excited about that opportunity for her, but also for us as a school. So food service, we did talk about that. We interviewed Eric Olson. He's got 12 years of experience over at NDSU. He has slowly just moved up the ladder. He's in charge of 9 chefs right now and 3 meals. And so he's been in the game a while, and he's, as you look at his resume, obviously they think something pretty special of him too, because they keep moving him up. We were very impressed with that interview with him, have visited with him and did again this morning. We're getting very close to kind of finalizing a contract that I hope I can bring to you guys at our next board meeting. Anyway, just real good, excited about that too, for our food service program. Construction update. So obviously we talked about Minko stuff here tonight. I would concur with the committee, as maybe some of you did here. You know, to hold all these companies or hostage is starting to get a little bit ridiculous. We have a lot of subcontractors that have their neck on the line right now for us, and they're staying in the game to finish it, and yet they're incurring costs that they're really not recouping yet. And so, end of the day, we're going to have some big decisions to make moving forward, and I just again agree that it's time to help them. So. Shop update, I do have a contract here for Foss and Associates. They're the architect that are going to be our architect in drawing it. I visited with the state, I visited with Comstock, so we don't have to put this out for bid as far as the HVAC, the cement work, the whatever, because it's an extension of our current project. It's like saying, hey, we need windows there instead of brick. It's a change order. We need to not do anything in the gym, but we're going to divide this room up a little differently than what's originally planned. According to them, that's what you can do with the shop. Same thing. It's a little change order on what you had originally done, so you don't have to go through this whole process. But we did want to have a different engineer, or architect, sorry. And that architect has done the addition, the kindergarten addition, which is right next to it. So they have all that information, so that'll make this nice and smooth. We have met with them. They do have a contract here that I'd like to sign and send it back to them. I said we would be discussing it tonight's meeting. Again, this doesn't have to have board approval necessarily. There doesn't need to be a motion for it because it's just within the scope of this project. Obviously, it's an additional thing. That's why I'm talking to you. If we have concerns here tonight and you want to look at it afterwards or whatever, I can get into the details of it. They are ready to go and they want to get it done. They know our timeline is to have this thing done by next fall so we can have more electives for our high school kids. And so, and visiting with the state and Comstock, they feel that they can still pull that up. So. Thoughts. Yeah, no, that's okay. Yep. And we did meet with them and they know everything we want. And then they started to do some drawings and whatnot. They gave me the contract. Obviously, we need to get a contract going moving forward. Yeah, so exciting to get that moving. Middle school gym. That has been moved up the ladder at Travelers Insurance because I gave them employee sick leave time that we're billing them for because it's directly related to the mold issue. I turned in all the stuff for replacing the floor completely. I have it replaced, so different levels of what people are saying. I've given them all the estimates. I gave them Lars' ruling in his testing, and it proves that there's a high level of mold. So then the lady called me and said, I'm sorry, this is above me, so it has to go up. And I said, I'm going to tell you, I want the floor, so bear with this. I have the company that's going to do all of our floors through our contract, our new construction. They can be here February 25th to remove it. I need to know right now. Because they told me they could. We could do it that weekend. We could get it out of there, get all that mold out, we could get done, clean it up, boom. Problem is if you know the floor over there, it's about that far below the rest of the floor, so it's, you know, it's a disaster, right? So can't really rip out the floor yet, I guess, in end of February, I guess you're still inside for FIAT. And our basketball season would be over, so it's like, okay. But they said they could do it if we wanted to do it then. And so I'm trying to put a little pressure on. I gotta know because we gotta get this thing done. Jay Wood, who's doing another floor, said they'll make it work, they can do it. But we're trying to make sure insurance is in the game, obviously. Okay? We did seal it. And when I say seal it, Brian and Ryan took a Saturday and sprayed all the volleyball standard areas, and they sprayed it to fill in the gaps so there can be no airflow coming out of it, and it's just sealed tight. They went around, took all the trim all the way around, and took Flex Seal and sealed it so we're not getting this wafting in the air. It has made a significant difference. That's our temp fix as we fight through this process. It's a noticeable difference, so, which is good. Tomorrow night we host the varsity basketball game in there at 4:45. So you guys will be able to walk in and say, well, I don't smell anything. Perfect. That's the way it should be. So anyway.
Give you guys a report.
Yes, so Lindsay will report back. I'm actually gonna get to watch it for a little bit too. We have wrestling here tomorrow night too, but so I'll get back here later. But that's that. NACO change order we've already talked about. The other thing you'll see are 2 years kindergarten class. This is something that we've started to discuss. There's other schools that do this. So as an example, we have parents in our district that send their kid to kindergarten when they just turned 5, and they usually will say, let's say Lindsay's the kindergarten teacher. Hey Lindsay, I'm gonna get my kid in your class, but he's gonna repeat kindergarten again next year because he needs 2 years. There are early families that do that, or request, you know, so this course, or this class, we're gonna put some letters together. We've met about this just briefly, wanted to talk about it here. We'd like to send a letter out to parents. We have to still determine what's the criteria, how many kids, and then those parents would know ahead of time then that Shannon's gonna take 2 years of kindergarten. What it would look like then is I'm in this kindergarten class, just doing this like all the other kindergartens, we have a kindergarten class, knowing that that group of kids next year, when they go into kindergarten again, they'll be divided up. But maybe Ronnie and I are in the still same class, but you two are in a different class, so nobody knows that we were in it for 2 years because we were all together this year. Next year we go into kindergarten classes and we get spread out a little bit. Okay. Other schools do this. There's funding involved, obviously, because they're in kindergarten. What happens this year, or as an example this year, talking to principals and saying, hey, we might need to retain 10 to 15 kids this year because they really need to be retained. Well, if you do it on the front end, people already know it eliminates a lot of those phone calls. Sometimes not so difficult, sometimes difficult. And so we're going to work through the logistics of that exactly, and I'll give you more information as we get closer. Because I want to do some visiting with other schools that do it.
What would happen if students, they anticipate needing to stay for 2 years and then they're ready to rock?
Ask that very same question, Nicole. That's great. They'll stay in kindergarten. Yep. Talked about that a lot. And if you're signed up, if you want to sign up for this class, whether your son turns out to be a rock star or your daughter's a rock star, if you signed up, they're going to continue in kindergarten. It sounds like from other schools, they're signing them up for a reason, and it's finding that they're pretty much, it's good for them to stay. Yeah, I can tell you in my history as a superintendent and or principal, I've held some kids back in kindergarten. I wouldn't hold them out back in any other class other than kindergarten. In all 3 occasions, the kids were young, and it was a maturity thing. And the following years now that are in 3rd and 4th, 5th grade, it's amazing how they feel more like a leader. It's just changed how they were in school. They just weren't ready. It's okay. I'm not so sure I was. You know, it's just what it is, right? And so the parents are ahead of time knowing, so it just.
Whether you're in 8th grade or kindergarten, I don't care if you need to retain, I think you should. I mean.
Well, yeah.
No argument there.
Yeah, no.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, the other thing I always say is those kids typically, as a principal, I always said it's more important to hold them back in kindergarten because when they're 17 or 18, they manage themselves better and they're able to say no when it's hard to. Anyway. Questions?
I've never heard of that. Like a,
Oh, haven't you?
no.
Well, some people call it begindergarten,
Oh,
pretty creative. That's East Grand Forks name.
okay.
Annandale calls it something else. I guess it was before my time here, but the one and only Brooke Velka said they had something in Glendon Felton about first grade. What was the title?
First grade, what was it?
Junior first.
grade, yeah.
They used to have it here, so,
It's like a junior teacher.
right, so we gotta come up with some really cool name. No.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway.
Good assistant principal job.
Yeah, that's her responsibility. First job for the assistant principal, name that.
Are you hoping that would be for this coming fall?
I'm hoping so. Based on what I'm hearing, it's not hard to do, and there's already a lot of people, there are some that already kind of talk to the teachers about that. So as I'm listening, again, very beginning stages, but it's going to be something they feel or we feel that it probably happened pretty easily because they were going to go to kindergarten anyway. If you sign up for this, and it's already kind of done. But yeah.
Would there be a reason you wouldn't retain the teacher so that they would keep on the same teacher for 2 years?
I just think for everybody, it might be good to have a change the following year. Just because they're going to transition the following years after that. So I think it's good to send them out into kindergarten.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Is that like a one-person position then? Like that
That's
teacher will
right
be
now.
exact
Yeah,
teacher?
that's what we've talked about. We met with a teacher that's interested in doing it.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I just hope the number comes up perfect, right? We need 16 in this group. Oh, that's all we got. Perfect. We'll probably get 32 and then we'll look at each other and go, no, what are we gonna do? So, I mean, this is why I need to talk to other schools too. If you have criteria, hey, Brittany, you said you want to sign up your kid, but I'm sorry, we already have for fall, and here's the criteria we went by. So if we have to have those conversations with parents too, we already have something pre-existing that went out and informed them ahead of time. So.
And then should the parents have to sign a contract saying you're stuck with this, whether you like it or not?
Yeah, well, yeah, there's a letter. I mean, it's just to
Yeah.
make sure, when you sign them up, here's what you're signing up for.
Sure.
A 2-year wonderful experience.
Do we know, I think kindergarten registration just opened. Do we know how many we have so far?
Yikes, I've had other
Oh, it's okay.
conversations.
We
say,
don't
"You
know the
what?
number.
We have 19 as of right now.
Oh,
19.
Enrolled, I mean, officially enrolled.
okay.
You
Okay,
know,
okay,
every
and,
parent has to enroll their kid.
Right.
okay, and we have a
We're
number.
estimating 100.
Yeah.
but
Okay.
They all have to enroll.
So what if you only got like 10 kids that were interested in that? You're gonna.
I don't know, this is why I need to.
No, I'm sorry. I was just
I'm
curious.
sorry, I mean, that's a great question. You sound like me.
Yeah.
I was in that meeting, and what if we get 40? What if we get 16?
Yeah.
What if we get 10? I was asking the same things, a lot about what do we do if they're really smart, they come out, should we send them?
Sure.
These are all the things that I want to talk to some of these other people that have lived it, and how have you handled, not enough, too many, how have you, and that's, honestly, I just got enough to be dangerous, and it's dangerous. Yeah, those are great questions, Amy, and that's what we're hoping to have some criteria to answer that better. Yeah, sorry.
Contract you've got for FOSS, that's just for the architectural part. right?
Yep,
So once the drawings are done, then we still have to approve somebody to build it.
it'll be Comstock.
Oh, okay.
Yep, no, and so we can use them and their subs already, so Peterson Mechanical or whatever, these people are already on site. We don't have to rebid that because they're already doing work here. It's like saying, hey, Peterson Mechanical, I'm just using it because they're just popped in my head. Hey, we need the ductwork now out here. Well, what are you doing with the ductwork? Oh, because we have the shop, this is that additional scope. This is for the architectural drawings and up to code so the state can get the plan. And then talking with Ryan at the state, he said, tell me when you're sending it so we can get it quick. I'll pass it, I'll get it through our people fast so you can get approved right away so you can get to work. Yeah, but our people, the contractors will use the ones that are already here. So it's not like, oh, well, I can't get there till July 15th. Well, we gotta have you here in April.
We'll just get Comstock a change order to do that. Then basically, so.
Yep. So, yeah. Any other questions?
Okay,
Go ahead. Thanks.
let's move on to 7.1. This is the approval of the regular meeting on January 24th, 2022. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Amy, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Brittany. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have 8.1 business claims and accounts. Laura, what is our bills this?
$245,868.10.
All right, also included in your packet is the treasurer's monthly budget report. Do we have a motion for the consent agenda? I can't speak.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Laura. Any questions or discussion?
I just had one question. I still don't fully understand the deal with Excel Energy and paying this other solar thing and how we get our money back or how we get the lower end. And so sometime if we can ever check into that and figure out, we're paying that SSI Crestmark, is that the name of it? And we're paying Excel too, and where do we save enough money, the 2 cents a unit or whatever, so to get our payback on it or.
I'll look into that, Ronnie. I just,
No big rush on it,
Yeah.
but it's just one of those things I just don't.
I'd like to have some clarity to it, yeah. Yeah.
Great question. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, 9.1, resolution directing the administration to make recommendations for reductions in programs and positions and reasons. This is something we do every year. Do you have two resolutions you're going to read tonight? Do you have the first one, right?
I got it.
Okay. So our lovely clerk here, Amy, is going to go ahead and, go ahead.
Okay, whereas the financial condition of the school district dictates that the school board must reduce expenditures immediately, and whereas this reduction in expenditure must include discontinuance of positions and discontinuance of or curtailment of programs. And whereas a determination must be made as to which teachers' contracts must be terminated and not renewed, and which teachers may be placed on unrequested leave of absence without pay or fringe benefits and affecting discontinuance of positions. Be it resolved by the School Board of Independent School District 2164 as follows. That the school board hereby directs the superintendent of schools and administration to consider the discontinuance of programs and positions to effectuate economies in the school district and reduce expenditures, and make recommendations to the school board for the discontinuance of programs, curtailment of programs, discontinuance of positions, or curtailment of positions.
Okay, so do we have a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Motion by Ronnie, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Nicole. Any discussion? This is something we do every year. It is a roll call vote, so if anybody have any questions or discussion? All right, Laura? Amy? Aye. Myself, aye. Ronnie?
Aye.
Nicole?
Aye.
Brittany? Aye. All right, so that passes. 9.2, this is,
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I would assume if that were to happen, it'd be brought to us before it was done, like if we're gonna cut a program, like we'd be aware of it.
oh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. we talked about it,
For
yeah.
sure. Yep.
Okay, 9.2, assistant principal contract. This is to approve the assistant principal contract for Brittany John effective the start of the 2022-23 school year. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Amy, is there a second?
Second.
I got Laura over here. Any questions or discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 9.3, final budget. This is for approval of the FY22 final budget. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Ronnie, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Amy. Any questions or discussion? Any statements made by Superintendent Hunstead on the
Yeah.
budget?
Yep, so it's this one, it's got red on it, I think we printed it in color, I think it's the
Yep.
109. This is the one that we had our budget committee, and we kind of went into the details, they're also at the bottom. Remember, there's some 400 and some $1,000 of ESSER funds in there, right? And other funds, so the finance 140, 150, 155, 171 are involved in that 419,000. This is also using 1,530 kids, not 1,539, which we know we have, so there's about another 70, 80,000 buffer there. So full disclosure, if you look at our, where is it, right here, the one for this month, we're at 47% of the budget. Some of you may have looked down at the bottom of expenditures and budgeted for 01, 02, 04 budgets. The number is a little bit higher. See, it's 19,702,000 instead of 906, it's a little bit higher. Because Marcus found there was a little bit of money in some tech stuff that is actually a benefit to us. There's 30,000 there that he found that is actually, that we got coming. And so right away, it's tweaked this budget more down to almost 70,000 to the whole instead of 109. I said, let's don't change it again. We might have something else that happens. This is what happens. He goes, oh, you can change your final budget. I said, well, what if somebody, whatever, we had 16 kids come, or we lost 5 kids. Did that affect the budget? Yeah. Would it change? Oh, yeah, for sure. So this is everything we have right now based on all this information. So I wanted to leave this as our approved budget at 109. With the understanding, you understand already that we're using a number of 1530 for students. We found a little money in tech too that he's been working through. So I said, let's just leave it at 100.
Should it be the January number we compare to? This is the 7th month, right? Is that what it says?
Yes, it's January. So when you look at January at 50%, we're at 47.55. So we're ahead of budget. And that's using our budget number. So yes, yeah. So I just want to make sure you guys all understood that. If you're looking at, well, that number is a little different. Well, it's because of that money found in the tech.
Any other questions, team? All right, any more discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 9.4, this is an additional activity. We need a coach for esports as a DGF activity on the extracurricular salary list. Do we have a motion to approve? Motion by Nicole, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Brittany. Joe was here, but he took off, but there was over 20, was it 20?
Something like that.
Over 20 kids that signed up?
I think so,
It was like 40 actually.
40? Oh, wow, 40 kids. So I think this is going to be awesome. And as far as like the extracurricular salary list, they follow the
Schedule C or the extracurricular pay scale.
pay scale. So since this is new, I think they just start.
At what point do they add a second coach if he's got
Well,
20?
40 signed up, 20 got to join because they did tryouts.
Oh,
Gotcha. There we go.
See?
I was like,
I'm on this stuff tonight too.
yeah, they 40 children on electronic devices seems
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, I just
20
yeah.
sounds manageable.
I hope we have to add another coach.
Yeah, I was just
I-
gonna
Well,
say.
yeah, that's great. I just didn't want
think this is
Mr. Will or whoever is
Yeah.
up with that. I thought
That's a lot of
brutal.
kids, yeah. Well, awesome. I'm glad this is off and running.
Yeah.
All right, any
13
further
cents per
questions?
Right?
Any questions or discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
I
Opposed, motion carries. 9.5, special education cross-subsidy resolution. We're gonna go ahead and.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no.
I'll wait for comments maybe.
Okay, yep, go ahead and make the comments. Amy, go ahead and read it.
Whereas the Door Clinton Felton School District recognizes the need for a strong investment in the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA. And whereas the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act was first enacted in 1975 to help ensure that all students with disabilities will have access to a free, appropriate public education, and IDEA's enactment more than 45 years ago. The current federal investment in IDEA is less than 14%, and whereas with the enactment of IDEA, the United States Congress committed to fund up to 40% of additional costs of special education, thereby promising to provide up to 40% of the national average per pupil expenditure, which is currently estimated at $13,828 of the by the U.S. Department of Education. And whereas our nation's school district faced an increased demand for greater resources to fulfill the needs of the students under IDEA, including those for students affected by multiple disabilities whose individual education plans require more resources. And whereas with each increase of the IDEA child count, the DGF School Board and others throughout the country continue to adjust their budgets to accommodate the increased need and ensure that each child educated through IDEA receives the appropriate supports, with some school districts dedicating 40% or more of the general education budgets to special education services. And whereas DGF School District has $1,225,051 cross subsidy for fiscal year 21, which is one part of the statewide cross subsidy that was more than $673 million in fiscal year 20, and is expected to grow to $806 million in fiscal year 25. Be it resolved that the DGF School Board supports IDEA Full Funding Act that will help strengthen the federal investment in special education by authorizing a 10-year plan to fully fund the federal share of IDEA. And be it resolved that the DGF School Board urges Congress's strong bipartisan support for passage of the IDEA Full Funding Act. And now therefore be it resolved that the DGF School Board remains committed to providing students with disabilities and their families the support they need.
Thank you, Amy. Do we have a motion to approve? Motion by Brittany, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Nicole. Discussion?
If you guys remember, those that were able to attend the MSBA conference, this is the #1 item on their platform that MSBA is trying to push to the state of Minnesota to fully fund this process. You can see where we're short, 1.2 million. Does that affect our budget? Yeah, significantly. And so to do this, and what we'll do here with this resolution, if this goes through the way I assume it will here, we'll forward this on to MSBA to say, hey, our board has taken this resolution. And maybe you guys have done this in the past. I did it at my last school, we did this too, just sent it on, talked to legislators, say, listen, this is ridiculous. And it's getting worse, and that's what we're showing. So anyway, if you guys were there, you probably heard some of that spiel.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Are we as a board gonna then reach out to the legislatures?
You most certainly can and just say, hey, it's, yep. That was the other request that they put out. Remember MSB asking you guys to say, hey, or you weren't there, I'm sorry, Nicole. They had asked to reach out to your local representatives or senators and say, hey, come on, this is the deal. And MSB, if you go to their website, MSB, this is their number. Yeah.
It's probably right on the front. They
I think
probably
it
have
is.
a letter and everything.
Yeah.
Probably drafted or something to say, and then you can hit they probably have a link to all
Yep.
all the legislators and.
And they
Yeah.
seem somewhat hopeful with the $7.7 billion surplus.
Yeah, that they're getting some of this, so yeah. Yeah, money's growing on trees, so cool. We'd like to at least have this cross subsidy covered.
Actually, now say it could be 10 million before they're done in 2 weeks. So we'll
It's
see.
10 billion, you
10
mean?
billion, yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, it's anyway. So
Wow.
let's make sure that we pass this on.
Okay, so this is a resolution. We're gonna go ahead and do a roll call vote. Laura? Amy? Aye. Myself, aye. Ronnie?
Aye.
Nicole?
Aye.
Brittany? Aye. All right, 9.6, this is the 2022-23 DGF school calendar. This is to approve the first reading of it. Do we have a motion?
So
Motion by Amy, is there a second? Second by Laura. Any questions or discussion? It's in our packet here.
So something that came up with if you look down on the bottom right, conferences, the second conferences in March, 13th and 14th. The 14th, we may have a township election conflict, we just found out. So we're gonna look into that. One of the options is, do we go Monday, Thursday? So we're gonna have a little discussion. This is our first reading.
Yep.
And it just got brought to my attention, which is a great question. And we don't want to have that happen. It sounds like it's happened in the past. And so we got to avoid it. So we'll work through exactly that conference piece.
Okay.
The only other thing on this calendar, it says Friday graduation. It's easy to switch it to the Sunday and keep it the same. I would really like you guys to discuss with community members and concern. And we've shared it out with staff. We've shared it to our admin. People that are watching, it's something we're discussing. Again, it doesn't mean it's done, but this is in there and this is a first reading. So if you guys hear from constituents that, whoa, we got to leave it alone on Sunday, it's something we'll have to discuss. And so
Is the last student day the 25th then? Or does?
I
does it
think
go
it's the
somewhere?
last day is still the 26th, isn't it?
Oh, if they just do graduation, that's the last.
That
day.
night, yeah.
Okay.
Yep, that would be that evening.
Yep.
I've talked to just basketball parents and threw it out there and they all thought, oh, that sounds great. Yeah, so I have
So we
to.
did when I was growing up, that's exactly how we did it. We had graduation practice, and we had an afternoon of fun.
Yep, the seniors.
To December, yeah, and then we came back for graduation walk, and it was a good time to bond as a graduating class.
And their last day, and then the special event, and and then my last two schools, this is what happened too, we moved it to Friday, it just, but again, I mean, there was reasons Ronnie brought up from the past why they did it, it's for travel for other people coming from out, I get that too, so. Yeah.
Who knows, we'll probably still be in the middle of it. Next thing you know.
What can I throw at her? What can I throw at her?
Lindsay, yeah, I'm working it every day.
Put your name on the thing, I'll give you
Look to the
that.
future.
I hope.
It might have been if it was, on a Sunday too, then they could do parties afterwards.
Yeah,
And now it seems like most people have parties on a different day
All
anyway.
over.
all over.
I've got two other questions on here.
Sure.
Since I'm trying to decipher the colors.
Yeah.
I know, there's a
Start-
lot of colors out here.
Starting on the 6th and 7th, is regular school start there? Or it says ready for kindergarten, or does regular school start too?
Yeah, regular schools start on the 6th. That is, so they have 2 days there they bring in and they interview or they talk to the parents and the kid for kindergarten. So they have scheduled meetings with kindergarten parents. Yeah, no, that's a fair
They're
question.
Pre-conference.
Yeah,
almost.
Yeah,
they've been doing this for several years and the kindergarten teachers really like it. They get the parents and the student one-on-one to kind of understand, like, here's where our locker is, here's what our room looks like.
Way
and-
less overwhelming for the
Yeah.
kid. Number
Yeah.
4 finally did
Yeah.
this, and this was great.
Yeah.
She was probably the least scared, but it still was better for the rest of us.
Yeah.
no, I think for parents too, if it's your first student going to kindergarten, it's a nice,
Yeah.
just talking to kindergarten teachers.
I
Yeah,
just wanted to make sure the regular
Yep.
school started. And
Yep.
where do we sit in this scenario as far as storm days?
storm days, we don't have any storm days built in because we can do e-learning days.
How many-
We
how
can
many-
do that next year
Can you
again.
find-
Oh, yeah. They're already talking about adding, maybe doing 10 instead of 5.
Pre-COVID running, the other schools were able to do that.
Yep.
Farmville, for one, did that before we were.
Even in the pandemic,
Yeah.
school districts are already doing
19 to 20, they were already doing that pre-COVID.
Are we at our 5 days already?
it. We are, but we can go over because we have up to 30. So that's why I called the state. Maybe you remember when I called the state, or maybe I did.
Yeah, you talked about the 5.
Did I tell you last
Take
night? Yeah.
Influenza days.
Yeah, the influenza days, we can trade in for those others and then, but when you get, so we use our 5, but we can go into that 30, we have 30 to do. So it's like COVID days, it's influenza days, it's weather days, sorry. But you're only supposed to use 5 for the weather. We have, so we're gonna wait and see here, but it sounds like, it comes back down to, so do we wanna make it up? Or are we gonna do an e-learning and count it? We also remember in our schedule, we have 169 contact days this year, sorry, this is the wrong calendar, 169, and we only need 165, so as a board, you could say, we're not making it up. Let's say we had more. I'd like to keep them e-learning and go, but then, or we could say you gotta make it up. The issue with making it up is, when do you make it up? Oh, end of the year. Well, that's just super productive. You know what I mean? It's almost like, okay, let's just do an e-learning day, it's better off.
So you can go up to 30, but they
30?
don't,
Well,
you can have 5 weather.
yeah, and the 30 is more for illnesses than that, and so we could take those 2 influenza days back.
Yeah.
And so, I've got to run the numbers again, I don't know if you know, but the last week,
Yeah.
it seems like every week
special.
I got another e-learning day.
Yeah.
And I don't know why the blizzards just don't stop,
Yeah.
but they just don't want to stop. So,
What do we
anyway,
got
I want to keep people to be safe
What
first.
have we got for this year on Easter? This Friday or Monday too, normally?
I think it's Friday and
Friday,
Monday,
yeah.
so that would be an option, is right, and so. But, yeah, yeah, and so I guess my thing is, I want to work with the state and continue with e-learning, and that we're getting in the, for sure, the gray here. I want people safe first, okay, we need to educate. What is the best time to educate? I don't want to do it at the end of the year because it's an absolute, it's a waste of time. We would have been better off e-learning, so. Let me think through that. I'm sorry I haven't got into those weeds yet since last week.
Well,
But-
Still got a couple we can play with at least on the minimum.
Yeah, I need to stop and think. I know there's at least 1. I think we're at 4. You know, we're at 4. If we take 1 influenza day, we still have 1 left, don't we? Yeah, okay.
But
So
I'm
we
saying
have-
169, 165, we still got a couple there.
Oh, yeah, we still can play with that. We could say we're not making it up. You have, right, because as far as hours and days, yes, good point, Ronnie, you're right. So
Okay.
it's just,
Great, good discussion, so it's.
Sorry, on the calendar here, I did hear some feedback from staff as far as not having November 23rd, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving as the day out. I don't know, if we need to send something out or, just ask for additional feedback. But I do think it's challenging for people who try to travel, like we talked about,
Mhm.
wanting flexibility for graduation travel. I think Thanksgiving deserves the same.
This calendar, and so I worked with the union group and their leadership to work this out. We sat down and we did it together. Our issue with this next year's calendar is there's just no wiggle room because of when Labor Day is and when Memorial Day are. So if you want to come back after Memorial Day, you can have that Wednesday, but you know what that day's worth again. It's a good point. We talked about it too. It was in there, it was out of there. We kept going with that Wednesday. And we just felt in order to keep it in between those dates and not extend past it.
I just think we're gonna end up losing most of our, I mean, a lot of people are gonna be either gone or checked out or.
Yeah, well, the other date we were thinking about keeping school in is the 23rd of December.
Which I get that, I get that as well.
Don't do that.
I know, it wasn't a coin toss, but these were those dates that who travels when? Well,
I just thought it was good for
yep,
discussion.
no, it was, and it was
And
discussed
I did look
extensively.
at your beginning and end and kind of assumed that would be the reasoning.
Yeah.
But.
No, it's okay. It was brought to your attention and you brought, and we had that also, went around and around. And just like anything with a calendar, 3 of us may line up perfectly, 3 of us go, oh, I'd write that one other day. I get that. It's just like, this one didn't give us a lot of wiggle room, so I'll say this, I sat down with the union leadership and worked through, we had 3 remember I had 3 originally? We worked through the 3 of them and came up with this together. So it was a very productive meeting, and they agreed and I agreed, and so we thought, perfect, let's share this with the board and hopefully we can just
So
be
my
done.
other question with that is that if we only need 165 contact days, the instructional days look 172. So
Yep.
could we reduce that to 171 and keep 23rd off? Is that not a thing? I don't know how that works.
It is a thing. Shannon has a real super strong opinion about 172 days.
Okay.
And I don't always get my way, and I'm totally okay with it. Here's what I like in a school calendar. I want it to always be 172. If you look across the state of Minnesota, I would say, so you can do the numbers, I would say that 75% of them go 172. 172 and 8 workshop days, 172 contacts. I think it's important to get our kids in this building. I wish we had year-round school, but I'm not going to go there. Because it's just, kids learn when they're in school. And kids can learn outside of school, but they learn better in it. And
You're not gonna get an argument from me.
no, and so 172 is a traditional number that a high percentage of schools. Now, you have construction, of course, and that's what happened to us here. We reduced this year to 169. And you want some buffers. A lot of schools use the 172 traditionally because you got weather, and now you don't have to make them up. Or you get choice. That's the other buffer you get in this. We have another year like this, well.
Yeah.
But 171, it's always an option.
Well, let's, since this is a first reading, I think we have some good
Yeah.
discussion points, and let's just move forward.
Can I ask one question? I have a question.
Sure.
Are we not concerned about lining up with the Spuds Academy? Because that was the big deal last year.
Well, interesting enough,
So,
this year calendar, I would say that I've shared this with Brandon, and this one was ending with the 2 of the 3 of their calendars that he shared with me. This one ends the same quarter end breaks as theirs does,
okay.
of 2 out of the 3. And I looked at the 3 that he shared. One I thought was going to be denied over there 100% on us, and the other 2 have the exact same ends on this one.
Okay.
We did look at that.
Good.
Yeah, because this year it is
Our
off a
quarters
week.
don't meet up, but our days off do, this year, correctly?
Now, there's this third quarter and fourth quarter this year got off a little bit.
Yeah,
The first 2 quarters lined up pretty well. This one has the same ending dates for the quarters all year long.
perfect, okay.
On 2 of 3 of their calendars. I don't know if you guys
Well,
are
I'm
over there yet.
hoping,
or
I
what.
have a hope for that calendar,
Okay.
go see.
Anyway, so that is something we
Okay, I
did
was
look
just
at,
thinking
and we
about that,
wanted to
because
align it better with
It was
that.
a big deal last year.
Yep.
so,
And I think it made it hard for Katie and Wayne too, and trying to figure out if
Yeah.
kids go, they don't go.
For sure.
So I get it.
Thank
Yep.
you.
No, great
Great
question.
questions. Okay, so we have a motion by Amy, a second by Laura. Any further discussion? Right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 9.7, this is American Indian Plan compliance. As Wayne stated, this is something that we have to do every year. He'll meet with his council and they will pass this along to the state. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Nicole, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Amy, any questions or discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. All right, 9.8, school board recognition week, why do we do this?
I'm trying to figure out why we would approve a recognition week for us.
Great question.
I swear.
Because you guys are appreciated by the
Well,
superintendent of schools, that's why we're recognizing you. Yep, there you go.
So,
Always
put you
going
down
on
as
a patch on the back.
Anyway, school board recognition week, do we, for February 21st through 25th, 2022, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Amy, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Laura, see the enthusiasm.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Do
calm
we
down.
have to do that? I mean, is it a thing we have to do?
Can we all
Can
vote
we all
against
just,
it?
We had a split vote tonight, what was it on the school board recognition?
I think we've done this in the past, in some of the different like para weeks and different things.
I understand that, I don't know,
Yeah.
it feels weird.
It's like you're giving yourself a pay raise or something, or what?
Do we have to do it next year? I mean, is it a thing we have to do?
You know what, Brooke Belka
You guys
put it
are
on,
appreciated.
Brooke Belka put it on the agenda, so we're going
That's what
to
was happened before.
take it off next year, okay.
Whether you
All
feel
right.
appreciated or not, doggone it, you are.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Uh,
Aye, opposed, motion carries. All right,
You got a week to
nine-
get it figured out.
9.9, this is a motion to approve the Minco construction. This is a bill, this is a change order of $17,530 as presented by the facilities team. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Nicole, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Amy, any further discussion or questions? All right, hearing no further discussion or questions, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, 9.10, this is, we're gonna go into closed session. I need a motion to go into closed session, please. Nicole? Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Brittany. We are gonna go into a closed session here. It's 7:09. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you all. We're gonna ask everybody to exit.
Okay, yeah, you're fine.
Are you gonna come?
Just a second.
No,
Okay, we are coming back from a closed session at 7:36. I can't remember, Ronnie, I'm going to make them ask for a motion to come back into the meeting. Right?
It wouldn't
Yeah.
hurt.
Okay, we have a motion to come back in from our closed session.
So moved.
Nicole, second from Laura, All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I think the only thing would have to be is if there was any action to be taken, we would make the motion at this point.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah,
there
yeah.
is.
And there is no motion, we're just making a motion to come back into our meeting to adjourn it, so. It seems silly.
Yeah, it's fine.
So next board meeting is Monday, February 28th at 6 PM in the High School Media Center, followed by policy at, after the meeting. And Shannon and Brooke will send out those policies for the policy committee to review prior to that. So, all right, it's 7:37, meeting adjourned.